Alright, welcome back to Immune. This is Fletcher, and it's my film review for The Grey Man, written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. Also a credit for Joe Russo screenplay, and directed by Anthony and Joe Russo. This is the team that you would know from the Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. So obviously I was excited to come and see this film. Give you a quick synopsis. When the CIA's most skilled operative, whose true identity is known to none, accidentally uncovers dark agency secrets, a psychopathic former colleague puts a bounty on his head, setting off a global manhunt by international assassins. You got quite familiar elements going on there. You know, very John Wick, Jason Bourne feels going on. And what can I say? All-star cast. The people in this film are fantastic. Gosling, who I think is great. This is a really good opportunity to him fully lean into being an action star, and I think I would love to see more of this kind of Ryan Gosling. It's almost a bit like his nice guy's persona added to the Drive character, which I think is, a dream. That's ideal. That's perfect. We got Ana de Armas, who is absolutely badass. I'm so glad that she got cast in this, because this is exactly the kind of thing I wanted to see her in after seeing No Time to Die. She was fantastic in that. Here she brings the same. Alfre Woodard, who pretty much brings value to any scene she's ever in. So, stellar as always. Julia Butters is quite noble, I would say. Really dynamic young actor to have in. You might remember her from stealing the scene from DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Really interesting and deep performances from a child actor, and I'm really excited to see where she goes. I think also notable to mention Callum Mulvey, who I think in this film he actually gets a far more complex and interesting character than he usually gets, where he's just normally just kind of nasty piece of shit. And I really liked him. I'd like to see him in more things, actually. Chris Evans, has to be said, I actually really like him as an antagonist. Don't really get to see much of him in Knives Out, but in this, he's kind of touted as this psychopath or sociopath, or for whoever doesn't read enough to actually know the bloody difference. But I would say that he's more defined in this as being deeply narcissistic. He is obviously, psychopathic. He doesn't seem to care about anyone he hurts, but his most defining feature is his cockiness, and just how much he doesn't really care about anyone's opinions or criticisms. He just thinks that he is the answer to every problem. And it's fun. It's a really fun, playful, yet brutal character, and I really liked it. He doesn't really invoke any fear in me, though. I didn't really feel like whenever he was on scene that anyone was really in threat. I just felt like he was something that needed to be dealt with. But that aside, so we've got acting talent, check. We've got writing and directors on form, check. And I don't like this movie. I just don't like it. Why don't I like it? What doesn't it hit? It doesn't hit because, well, I don't know, the story is meh. It's very meta spy or assassin action films, which can be fun, but kind of falls flat because it isn't interesting enough to set its own tone, and therefore it just seems kind of one note and empty. But I've actually really mulled over this, and I would say it's the cinematography and the editing. And it's weird to say that because there are some really factual and dynamic shots in this film, but it just doesn't work. It's so bizarre. And also followed by poor use of the score and sound in the action scene. Before I go ham on these elements, which are more cracked and fizzling than a horror house light bulb, I'm going to say some good things that I liked. I liked that they experimented with a new type of technology, a drone technology, which gives these wild, swooping shots, especially when they're establishing new locations within the story and they're panning around these beautiful cityscape. It's crazy. It looks fantastic. It has been said that the Russo said it was really technical and really difficult to use. So I get it, but they try to add them into some fighting scenes, into kind of some car chases, and it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't seem to translate well. That whatever it is they were trying to do just didn't translate well. It cuts away too fast for me to enjoy what I'm seeing. There's not enough time left inside the shot for me to really take it in and enjoy what's happening. There's also a really cool shot that I liked where the camera is on a drone and it's tracking into a lobby of a hospital, and as it tracks into our protagonist, it kind of switches around and then transitions quite nicely into a mounted camera that's right next to our heroes as they're doing something in the hospital. I thought it was really cool. It was really cool use of the camera. It worked and it was interesting. You could see that it was a transition, but it was effective. I think one of my favorite shots was later in the film where the villain is chasing after our protagonist off the top of a building, and as he jumps and falls, the camera swoops down. There in the distance is our heroes, and it's one really long, quite beautiful shot, and I really liked it. I think that's really where this technology in scene works best, and I think I would love to see more of that. But that being said, there aren't many moments which the shots and the photography aren't marred with layers of unnecessary VFX. It didn't take long. I'm already annoyed. I'm already complaining. I really just can't I just can't contain myself because it's so frustrating, because I really wanted to enjoy this film. I really was excited to see some new work by the Russos. The VFX aside, I'll come back to that, but back to the cinematography. The bad thing is the framing of the action is just bad. It's often at the waist, just staring at our heroes. They could be on a Zoom call for all I care, not even wearing underwear. Really, it's in that mid-range wide shot, allowing the viewer to assess the danger our protagonists are in and the threatening damage they deal back, which really helps translate what's going on. A lot of the characters aren't wearing very defining clothes that let their profiles stand out in the scenes. Except for there's one bit where Armas is wearing an absolutely fantastic suit and tie. She looks fantastic. Actually, I'm kind of jealous of that suit. It's beautiful. We've got quick cuts, which, are just a classic no-no in any action movie. Like choppy pans that desiccate the footage into abstracts, and sometimes the camera movements that flow against the action that negate impact. Punch goes left, camera pans right. Hero flips anti-clockwise, camera flips clockwise. Just a weird experimental choices of motion that just don't lend to the flow and just fail. And now the VFX. I love VFX and the special effects. I think they're incredible tools. They are power that needs to be carefully wielded. And this was like a baboon running around with a lightsaber. Everyone is losing their legs, their feet, their balls, even the baboon. It's just chaos. There is a scene involving a skydive where it was just so superfluous and trite. There were just no stakes at all. It just didn't seem real. It didn't seem like anything that was happening. All the camera angles were so insane that it just took me out of the movie immediately. I didn't even care. I would be more excited in seeing Gosling cleaning his teeth as opposed to him falling over 15,000 feet. It's really the uncanny valley that strikes me. That could be the whole film's name. It's not the grey man, which he's not even that morally grey. More than anything, he's practically glistening white. He's more like the white man. But then, everyone knows that sounds rubbish. This film could be called The Uncanny Valley, because no matter what you see, almost always it doesn't seem real, or there's no suspension of disbelief. There's no suspension. It's just disbelief. I was just in huge disbelief that this is what was happening. And I blame Netflix. I blame Netflix and their weird standardization of aesthetics. I don't blame, but I dislike their cinematography. I don't like how it's edited. All that being said, I would like a sequel, because the core parts, the actors, the action choreography, the characters are solid. It just didn't come together this time. It's a real shame. I just don't understand what's going through Netflix's head. A quick thing that I was just curious about, what are the most highest watched or rated Netflix movies? And top of the list, Red Notice. What an ugly, disgusting, and boring movie. What is it? Dwayne Johnson, Gal Gadot, Ryan Gosling. Absolutely, why wouldn't I want to watch that film? You watch it, they barely carry the movie, and it's sad. It's usually sad. Second, Don't Look Up. I love it, but it kind of doesn't do anything that the Netflix aesthetic doesn't mess around with too much. It kind of needs VFX, and it kind of needs to look crisp, I guess. But it's mostly just story and acting, so it's fine. The Adam Project, another decisively ugly-looking movie, which could have been fantastic, I guess. And then there's Extraction, which is about like 6th on the list. And that is everything that this film is not. Extraction is so many levels above this. There are only a few moments in that film which I don't really like. And they're really rare, and I let them slip because everything else is fantastic. I was so hoping for something on that level here. Given that their stunt director has actually worked with the Russos before, I thought it would have been some of the similar thing. But no, it's not. It's a critical miss, absolutely. And it's really sad. I would like to see more. If they can do better next time, great. But it's a $200 million flop. The most expensive film that Netflix has ever made. And it's really sad because I really like the characters, I really like the actors. So let me know what you think, comment below, let me know, see what's going on. I'll be getting out another review next Monday as always, but thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time all the way to the end. Thanks for the likes, love to the subs, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.